Welcome back to the Daily Why. Today we're going to be diving into something that absolutely scares the crap out of me, and that's the New World Order.
A lot of people think of the New World Order as something that's brand new, like it's something that's just been happening for the last 20 or 30 years, depending on what conspiracies you're into. But what if I told you that the New World Order is something that's actually ancient in origin?
All right, bro. Let's dive into another rabbit hole this week.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. The New World Order.
Fuck.
You're right
That's
about
a
that
big
one,
one.
bro. It's huge. It's huge because, you know, like a lot of people have been speaking about this for like, what, the past 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But it's probably closest. It's probably pretty close around the corner. I'm honestly going to say give it another 10 to 15 years, man. Like, I know, like, the hype when it comes to, like, everything going on in the news at the moment. And everyone's like, oh, shit, it's probably going to be happening, like, within the next 2-3 years. But they've been saying that since fucking the 90s, right? Yeah. They were saying that when Y2K was going to hit. Like, the New World Order is going to come out and all this shit. It's going to whack everything out and all that. Like, come on. And I think it's a lot longer game than what people expect.
But it's a game that's been playing for a while now.
Oh, talk about a while, a long fucking time.
I would say that it would have started just post World War II. And it would have started with the Industrial Revolution. That was when I reckon it was set in motion, because that was primarily the time where machines were brand new. People would move into cities instead of live out on farms and whatever. Have a compact system and then just maneuver around that system till now. It's just been growing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and now the technology is getting to the point where they can do all those things that they've been talking about for years, you know, especially when it comes to chips in your hand. It's probably more going to be along the lines of like a Neuralink type of thing, you know, Elon Musk's Neuralink. Like that's.
I've been watching Elon Musk, man.
Hey, you've been watching that little fucker, eh?
You know, he went to one of those gala Hollywood things and he was wearing like
the Met Gala. Yeah.
A big New World Order.
Was it New World Order? Was it like a demon?
Jacket.
Devil
and a devil thing. That was on another one, yeah.
What is with these people and doing this type of shit, man?
Elon Musk.
What was it? That same Met Gala, you had like a lot of other celebrities coming up in like full red. Like, what was it? Doja Cat. Just like full red, full rhinestones.
There's a lot of that imagery now. They're all dressing like witches and warlocks But Elon Musk, man, I've been watching Elon Musk for a while.
What about his robots?
The thing is, Elon Musk is a very likable guy, right?
Yeah.
He's like the guy you'd never suspect.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at the things that he actually has access to, that like his big companies, one's space exploration, right? One's Tesla, which Tesla is also a navigation system. Don't forget that, right? And he has Neuralink, which is literally planting chips inside people's brains.
And he said that he was the person who helped start OpenAI, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Shit like that, man.
He's got Twitter.
That's right.
That's a social media platform.
Yeah.
And he had something else, but everything that he has moving around him is like everything you would need to make a New World Order, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got the space that's like united purpose.
Yeah.
Let's all just band together. You have the Neuralink, that's like I'm going to control every single part of your life stuff. You have Tesla, that's navigation. I can see where you're going. And even PayPal. PayPal is I don't know if he still has PayPal.
I don't think he owns it anymore. He sold that. But he started it.
But he has that background, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Did you see on the other day some guy just got like these PayPal funds transferred into his account, and he was like the richest person for like two minutes or something.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he had like 100 trillion or something. I don't know.
Fucking transfer.
Transfer that to me.
Just transfer $1 million and they won't even notice it. You know what I mean? That would have been very nice. Would have been very nice. But like, even when it comes down to Tesla again, you know, you've got his new Tesla bots. Have you seen them coming out? Like they don't look like they're anywhere close to being like in everyone's homes. Like, but they're on their fucking way.
He's pioneering a new age.
He is.
And it's almost like the fourth industrial revolution, but instead this time it's a digital revolution.
Yeah, 100%.
It's an AI revolution.
AI, you know, you've got Meta, you've got the metaverse, you know, all that type of shit as well. Like where people are just going to be linked into it constantly.
But at the same time,
have you seen Ready Player One?
No.
That's such a good show.
What is
movie.
it?
So it's like basically it's like the metaverse but on steroids. It's dope, man. Like you actually got to watch it. I'll suss it out. But like, so especially when it comes to like the new world order shit, right? Especially Elon Musk. So he's coming up with all these. I reckon it's either like a big joke to him with like all this symbolism and shit. Like he's just pulling it out because he knows people are just going to talk shit about it, you know? Like he could say one thing when it comes to the crypto market and that the whole thing would just collapse. Either collapse or like rise up straight away, you know?
But the thing is, when I watch Elon Musk interviews, he's someone that's genuinely on a mission.
Yeah.
What that mission is exactly, obviously he says it's for Mars or whatever, but what would that turn into if his technology sort of just branched out? And the thing about Elon Musk is that he's not very political, as in he's good with everyone, right? He's good with the right, he's good with the left, he's good with the woke people, he's good with anyone and everyone because he's got his own sort of line.
Yeah.
But everything that sort of moves around his world is absolute mass control, and it's already pretty big, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm always watching him with like a critical eye, man. Like, what's this guy up to?
You kind of have to when someone's got that much power.
Yeah,
really. You know, he's got that much power. He's got that much money. He's probably got.
He's got that episode, or it's like an interview. He says, you can just make a swarm of killer drones. I'm like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, but this is also coming from the guy that, you know, he started selling a flamethrower for the lols and then was surprised by like within the next fucking, what was it, the next day he was completely sold out and he was selling them for like 20,000 each.
Yeah.
But people were just taking them like fucking, like that's power right there, or even just Twitter power in general. Like I remember when he went in on Doge and said Dogecoin up, and then the whole thing just rose like a motherfucker, you know? Or like that time where he said that he was putting a lot of assets from Tesla into Bitcoin, you know? And then he was just going to leave it there for a little bit, which he did, and it grew, and then he took it out, and then fucked the market again. But that's just Elon for you, right? That's just him. But ties me back to like secret societies and shit like this, man. So a lot of people talk about like the Illuminati, and then you've got the Freemasons, and you've got like the deep state. It's like the real government and what's controlling shit and things like that. So what's your thoughts on that, especially like when it comes to like Illuminati type of shit?
So secret societies were started, I think, in the medieval times, around the Crusade times.
The Knights Templar.
And back then, it was predominantly like a Christian rule.
Yeah.
So anything that was sort of out of whack was labeled as heresy or sorcery.
Yeah.
So I think the origins of Freemasonry were like a science group.
Yeah.
Based, but science, obviously back then, it wasn't the same as the science now. Back then, it was called the mystery schools. So they would dig into occult, hidden knowledge, stuff like that, and they had to do it underground.
Yeah.
And that's when
just call them witches and shit like that and burn them at the stake.
Yeah, pretty much. But these guys were more organized. So they had almost like their purpose or their agenda, and they took it underground. And it kept on growing underground.
Mm-hmm.
And Freemasonry is very, like, if you meet a Freemason, it's very likely that his father's a Freemason.
Yeah.
And their father's a Freemason. So it's passed down generationally. And I think that's how they've kept it together, not only together, but strong as well.
Yeah.
And growing throughout literally like the sands of time. Like it's been, 600-700 years since then. But now it's a whole worldwide web of chapters, because they go by chapters. So, you might have your Sydney chapter, then there's suburban chapters. So, there's your
then
ride.
State, then country.
Exactly.
Then just sectors.
And what they are, they're like a brotherhood. This is, I was speaking to an actual old Mason. So he was telling me exactly what they do. And different chapters are organized in different ways. Some of them are more, I guess, with the purpose. Others are just like a social meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much what they do. They're like a brotherhood, and they look out for each other. And if there's, let's say, one guy doing business, they'll do business together. Do you know who really operates like that as well? Jews. No, really. It's why they're powerful. It's because everything that they do together. If I have a bricklaying business and you have, a carpenting business, let's work together. Let's share the profits. Let's grow together. Masonry is very, very similar, except Masonry comes, it's not just about business. It comes with a higher order or a higher
direction.
Well, they call him the grand architect. So it's like the ultimate power that governs the universe.
Yeah.
And this Mason guy that I was talking to you about, he was telling me, when you join up, you start off at 1 degree. So 1 degree is like the lowest, and you're given certain literature to read. And the more you read into the books that you're given by the lodge, the more you start to grow almost like your aura or your spiritual, you become awakened.
This is what, because the Illuminati are pretty similar when it comes to the same shit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did a deep dive on the Illuminati this week. Okay. And I wrote like a brief summary down of like how I see them and like how and what I think they do. So it starts off like the Illuminati is really controlled by like the Anunnaki, right? And the Illuminati claim to be illuminated. They claim to know the true history of mankind and the true genetics of mankind. They also claim to have more of the bloodline from the Anunnaki, right? Who are perceived as gods, but really aren't really gods. They're just physical beings, but like not from this planet. Wink, wink. You know what I mean? And like they're huge when it comes to symbolism and shit like that as well. Like let me just show you a little bit of this song. So it's Joyner Lucas, right? Look Alive, and I just want you to. It's just the first verse. And I want you to really like listen in and hear what he says.
Shots traumatizing from the 45, hit 44 more carbon copies than you kamikazes. That's for everybody. Mama, Poppy, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie. This is not Versace, this is hot hibachi, this is Hiroshima, this is Nagasaki. I'm Mahatma Gandhi, a fucking humanoid Anunnaki. With plenty hammers when I'm riding shoddy, better use your...
Blows me up.
There's a lot of energy in that part.
There's a lot of energy in that. And it was actually one of the songs that I absolutely loved, especially of him, because I think he just killed it. But at the same time, what's underneath all that shit? Like before he goes, I'm a fucking humanoid Anunnaki, he goes, Hapachi, he's talking about Nagasaki. He's talking about the Hiroshima bomb and all the other shit like that, and like he's gonna come through, or everyone's gonna die, and there's carbon copies of everyone else. Like before he said that, right? I'm coming from the Illuminati. Now it gets me again. Like, are they just fucking with us? Because they know as soon as like he would say something like that in a song, right? Like everyone's just gonna go ape shit and all that. Like, of course he's gonna get heaps of hype from that song because he said something about the Illuminati. But every time someone has sat there and reviewed this song, right, they're always going on about, oh fuck, he said Satan. Oh fuck, he said the Illuminati. But no one ever picks up the Anunnaki bit. No one ever picks that bit up. I'm a fucking humanoid Anunnaki, right? And it's like, and this was completely separate out of how when I was looking into the Illuminati and how they were believing they were like blood descendants from the Anunnaki, right? And then I go hear that shit. This was after like I already knew this song, but while I was reading all the other things that was coming to me, you know, with Illuminati, I thought of that, and I'm like, well, and then I sat there and thought, okay, well, holy shit, is this right? Is he just? So what do you think about that? Because I know like you have got that whole lineage type of thing when it comes down to like those two split lineages, right? From the Bible.
Yeah.
What was it? David, and what was the other one?
It starts off the lineage of Messiah, which is Christ. That's Genesis 3:15. That's God addressing the serpent. He says, I'll put enmity. He's saying this to the serpent. I'm going to put a separation, enmity between you and the woman and between your offspring and hers. So that's almost like there's a lineage that's separated for this coming Messiah, which is Christ. And then there's also another lineage, which is of the serpent, which I would attribute to that whole Anunnaki thing, because that Anunnaki.
But what if it was the other way around? Now, I'm not saying that Anunnaki are good, right? I'm not saying that because, like, if you go back into history books, they treated us as a slave race. So I'm not saying they're good, but if the text was really talking about God and in their perception of what God is, they were really talking about Anu, which is like also perceived as Ra, also perceived as Odin, and like different mythologies, right? What if they were really talking about that, the lineage from that? So, and now the Illuminati is thinking that their lineage is the true Christ, right? But also, I heard some guy talking like a few times on TikTok, and it made sense a little bit, right? Because they only really mention Lucifer itself once in the Bible, right? Isaiah, am I correct?
Yeah, Isaiah gives the description. Isaiah and Ezekiel give the description of Lucifer as light bearer. So as a fallen angel.
Yeah. But like, as you explained before, so that's really just the light bearer, as in the bright morning star, as in just bringing in a new age, right? So that could have been, that could be mistaken with both Jesus and Lucifer, right? Well, not Lucifer, Lucifer's son.
So to me, it's really about what's actually stood the test of time.
Yeah.
So there's two sides of truth. To me, it's all about truth. I don't care about anything else. And what stands the test of time, that makes a massive, massive difference. Because if you're talking about higher entities and God, and I guess the two flows that come out of those two sources, it's really all about which one is victorious in the end and which one isn't, right? And if it can stand the test of time, then it's plausible, because logic says if there is a God and he wants humans to know him, then he's going to provide what they need to actually get to know him, who he is, as he is, without having all these different ideas.
Yeah.
And that's what I said last time. Mythology is very plural.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ideas, billions, if not trillions
Yeah.
of ideas
And it just keeps going. It's more infinite.
coming down the sands of times,
Yeah.
and they all have certain similarities, but none of them is absolute. Now that would be one lineage, right? Because it also says that Satan or Lucifer, it says he's the father of lies and of half-truths. So not just full-blown lies, lies with a twist, lies with a little bit of truth, but not an absolute truth. Does that make sense?
But dude, that sounds like every politician. Every single politician, every country, you know what I mean?
If you start to look at people with the power that's working behind them or working on them, especially in politics and stuff like that, then wow. And especially in culture, if you don't look at the actual person, you just see almost like there's an energy behind them, empowering them to do whatever it is, and they're just serving that energy, then you're going to start seeing things like in a completely different way. In terms of the two lineages, so that's Genesis 3, that whole declaration of the two lineages at war with each other.
And then what? Down in Revelations where...
Genesis 6 is all about giants. So it does mention Anunnaki. Like, it doesn't mention the actual terminology.
But if it mentions giants,
hybrids.
if it mentions giants, they also said that Anunnaki were about 15 feet tall compared to us.
Yeah. And six fingers and six toes. That's the types of giants that are depicted all throughout the Bible, not just in Genesis 6, but all through Deuteronomy, Joshua. It's all about literally giants.
But you know, you know what blows me away? Okay, so you have to take it in perspective of when this was, when all this shit was written down. So they see anything that comes from the sky is going to be a god. You know what I mean? Yep. But it obviously wasn't. Well, that's what I'm saying. It obviously wasn't. Like, it had something to do with like another species that was out there that came down to Earth, realized probably they could manipulate our DNA, and then well, yeah, that's why we've got our DNA is so differently mixed from animals and other shit, well, our own, right? So it's like, okay, they come down. This is how I see it, right? They come down to Earth. They realize they're the only intelligent species on Earth. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, okay. So while everyone else is fucking around and mining everything, they've got a small group. And all they're doing is just studying the wildlife, right? They see these apes. Yeah. Then they start, why are we doing all the labor? Why don't we just create another subservient species to do the labor for us, right? So they start fucking with that DNA, and then over time, because there were different forms of species of human. Like, it's not like we just come from like, and this is scientifically proven. It's not like we just come from like one line of humans. We come from like 6 or 7 different humans together, right? And it's like they were all past and failed experiments until you came to us. You know what I mean? And then one day, one bloke decided, oh, why don't I just give these cunts some free will? Let me fuck everything up a little bit. You know what I mean? And in the text, his name was he like in the text of like the Nordic gods, it's Loki, right? But when it comes down to the Anunnaki, it's Inki, right? So they're very similar at the same time, and it's also like birthing that apple into existence. You know, he probably could have just fucked with the apple of those trees, and then just gotten us to walk over and start eating the apples, and then kaboom, kabang, diddly dang. You know what I mean? But I find that like a lot more plausible than some of the stories. That's why like I do take the Bible when they do say like specific events in which happen. I do believe, like, especially with that, because it's not just said in the Bible, it's said all around the world. Like for example, Noah's Ark, that great flood was talked about all around the world, not just in the Bible. But yeah, bro, like, but you know what, also when it comes to different religions, they all talk about the end. They've all got an end and they're very different. So have you looked into any other ones? Like, for example, maybe the Hindis. Have you had a look into what theirs is?
So if you have a look at all the current mainstream religions,
Yeah.
all of them have their own version of what's going to take place at the end, right?
Yeah.
And all of them agree that there's going to be a new world order.
Yeah.
So this whole new world order, you know, a lot of people think of it like, oh, you know, our government's got a conspiracy against us, whatever. But this stuff, before you look at it from that angle, you should look at it from it's ancient. It's like literally ancient, and it's very intricate and precise, right?
Mm.
So, and if you put all the different religions next to each other, you're going to find these dots and very vividly connecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Christian Revelations, for an example, it talks about two figures, right? One, and this is Revelation 13 for anyone who wants to have a look at it. But one of them is called the beast and one of them's called the false prophet.
Mm.
They're both characterized by a coalition of nations which band together.
Yeah.
And there's different interpretations. And the thing that about Revelations is sometimes it's referring to the collective, sometimes it's referring to the individual. So it's also talking about a certain individual, which if you read Daniel 9, I think Daniel 9 and 10, which is Old Testament, it's talking about that certain ruler with the power over that coalition of nations that's banded together, right?
Okay, yep.
So it's both a single person and basically the government that sort of comes under his wing. So you have these two figures, the beast and the false prophet. And the function of the beast is he causes all people, rich, small, you know, great, poor, whatever, to come under this one world financial system, one world religion, because he demands worship.
Yeah.
And one world governance.
You know, I'm not really against the one world coming together, but I am against one person having all the power. But doesn't matter, man. There's probably already one person who has got all the power anyway. That starts with the fucking wars anyway. You know what I mean? But like, I'm seriously not against a one world type of view, because it'd be nice to be united in a way. You know what I mean? Like, again, if we ever want to think about leaving Earth, we have to be united as one. We can't be a split species. You know what I mean? Like, we have to start really thinking of each other of, we are one species. We are together. It's not like you're Chinese, you're American, you're this, you're that. No, we're just Earthlings. You know what I mean?
Well, it is definitely a matter of, you know, if you're going to believe in the text, then you can take it and decide what direction you're going to flow. That's everyone's got their own free will, but it doesn't end with a one world united.
Yeah, no, it always ends in like destruction and
exactly.
shit like that. But like at the same time, you think to yourself, you know, it could be maybe sometimes destruction has to happen.
In fact, it tells you exactly how long the one world government will last. And it tells you it's only going to be 7 years. 3.5 years, the first 3.5 years will be peace. and then he'll break the treaty, and he'll just go Hitler.
Hitler style.
Hitler style.
I fucking hope not.
Yeah.
That'd be some real fucked up shit, man. Like, okay, so now I also looked at, so if the world war, this all shit happens, you know, so I had to look at like different things of like, what can you do? There's really nothing you can do, but what can you do to help yourself? You know, maybe that's getting your hands on some fucking gold and silver and getting rid of the dollar because it's already out the window. Getting a dual citizenship somewhere else in another country.
But the whole world's going to be under it if you're going under that.
I know, but I'm more talking about like when things start, because this whole new peace thing is going to come out of, it's going to come out of a lot of destruction first, right?
Yep.
So in my mind, how the world today has been set and who is running the world, right? There's always been America, and that's because of World War II, right? And that's because they had half the world's GDP in just gold, right? At the end of World War II. And by that, the world reserve currency ended up being the American dollar. But whoever wins World War III, which it won't be the West, it will be the East. It's probably going to be the BRIC nations, right? And this new currency they're already bringing out for the BRIC nations, which they're going to be putting into the new reserved thing. That's been running off gold, silver, nickel, all those types of metals, right?
The currency of the New World Order.
Yeah. It's going to be digital. It's going to be a cryptocurrency.
I reckon it's going to be digital, and I reckon there's going to be an element of it that's almost socialist. So everyone gets a certain allowance from that system.
Yeah. See, I'm not against that, but I'm not against that, man. Like, but at the same time, like, I am a bit against that because it's going to make people pretty lazy. But at the same time,
machines will be taking care of everything.
But
maybe,
yeah, no, yeah, 100%. You know, you've got the majority of the factories, I think, within 2028, like the big supermarkets, so like Audi, Coles, Woolworths, and all that, getting rid of all their warehouse staff by 2028, and all their warehouses going to be complete autonomous. You know what I mean? And like Amazon's already partially there.
Yeah,
you know, their workers don't even have to move around everywhere.
They're pioneering it.
100%. But like, and then you've got this new Tesla bot that's going to be coming out, and that's easy 20 years. Oh, they could blow me away in 10. I doubt it. Like he released. Did you see it?
Which one?
So like last week or the week before, Elon actually brought out a Tesla bot to show everyone. Like, did you see it walk around and shit like that? Like, it's really not up to the level of like iRobot. Remember that?
But soon. Don't forget. 15 years ago, we were on the green Nokia with Snake 2. 15, 20 years ago.
That was a great game.
Yeah, that was the best.
That was a great game. I love that game.
But now we have, like, I don't know how much better this thing can get until it actually becomes a part of my brain.
What do you mean?
The iPhone, like,
dude. I'm never gonna let that happen.
Well, neither am I.
For myself, but like, I'm really surprised on. It's either going to be the next generation or the next generation after us.
Yeah,
after us. What are they? Gen Z.
Yeah.
What are we?
Now.
What are we?
We're
not Gen X.
Gen Y, I think.
Gen Y. There's so many gens.
Yeah, I know.
Because I thought it was just baby boomers, and then I thought we were
baby
millennials.
Boomers are millennials. I think
are we millennials?
I don't think so. I think we're just the one right before millennials.
No. They're before us. Because I know they're like 30, 40.
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, it goes boomers, millennials, and then us.
Yeah.
And then Gen Z.
And then Jesus comes back.
No. Or Lucifer, whoever comes first.
Lucifer's coming back first. That's, yeah.
Does he come back first in the texts? So he comes back, everything goes to shit. Because I thought Jesus comes back first just to take his people, and then Lucifer has his.
There's a
fucking
few
around.
interpretations of that. I personally, it's not something that's really like important to me, whether there's like a rapture and then whatever. The order doesn't really matter. But I personally don't think that, I think that everyone in the world is going to see the whole thing. I don't think anyone's going to be taken out beforehand. And I think that a lot of people, a lot of Christians that believe in the pre-trib, they're going to be really disappointed because it's
The pre-trib?
tribulation, yeah. So
So they're waiting to go up?
have you watched that episode of Simpsons where they just get zapped up?
Nah.
There's an episode of Simpsons. It's about the rapture, right? And basically,
Is that when they're all going to the hill?
No. They get zapped up,
Yeah.
and it's like basically God's taken his people out of the world before the impending destruction.
Oh shit.
That's the theory. The theory is that there's going to be that figure that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Right before he comes on the scene, God is going to take out all those that are faithful to him.
Yep.
And then he comes and he does whatever it is that he's going to do. And then there's post-tribulation, which is basically he's going to come on the scene and everyone's going to be there to navigate that.
It just heightens everything, especially what's going on over in Russia and Belarus. Have you heard of what's going on in Belarus at the moment?
Tell me.
So Russia's been moving a lot of their nuclear weapons over to Belarus, and that's like right on the border of like Ukraine and stuff like that. So he's either just showing his chest, which I'm sure that's what he's doing. Like he's not dumb enough to fucking launch the missiles, but you know he's fucking close.
But he's old. He's old.
He's old,
people generally
yeah.
like to leave their legacy before they
100%.
pass away.
100%. But I don't think he's going to be passing away anytime soon. Not that bloke. He's like, did you hear the past before what he used to do before he was president?
What?
Like he used to be what's that KGB agent.
Oh yeah.
He was
He's
like
he's the heaviest out of I reckon all the leaders in the world. He was actually like a tough guy.
Yeah, he was this bloke was full on.
Yeah.
Full on bloke, full on Russian
And
bloke.
do you know,
man,
there's this heavy indoctrination with that, you know.
Yeah, man.
It's
Especially with like the Russian Orthodox Church. Like it's really heavy, dude.
Yeah.
Really heavy. Like they blow everyone else out of the water. I thought the Greeks were bad. You know? That Russian Orthodox Church, that's some next level shit.
The Soviet Union was like they have ideologies that Russia's like. Basically, it's almost like sub-religions. You have actual religions, and then you have certain patriots that are so patriotic that it turns into their own religion, if that makes sense.
Ah, cult. Yeah, I know
Like
what you mean.
cultural, my nation this, my nation that, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just interesting to see how it's all going to pan out.
Well, have you heard of Nostradamus and his prediction?
You were telling me about that before.
Yeah. So basically, he says like the Antichrist is going to be born around 2030, or he's going to be coming into power around 2032, right?
What year did he say this? Probably ages ago.
Ages ago. I don't really remember the year that he spoke this. But anyway, so this is just a sum up of like the whole thing because it was quite large. Anyway, so and he was also talking about like that they could be born somewhere around Slovakia, Russia. I was like, so I don't think it's Putin, and I don't think it's anyone that's alive today.
Do you know what's interesting? I forgot her name. Her name's something Blavatsky.
Blavatsky.
Something Blavatsky.
I don't know,
I'll put it up
Blavatsky.
on the screen after. But she was like the mother of Freemasonry / New Age spiritualism.
Really?
And she was something around those countries. She was like Russian or Slovakian or something. And she was like a spiritist that lived back then, and she had like certain alliances with the political people at the time.
Yeah.
And she birthed like a lot of that information that you see sort of lingering around New Age spiritualism.
Yeah. 100%, dude.
But Blavatsky, I'll get it after.
Blavatsky. Sometimes I feel like I wish I was Russian.
Yeah.
Just so I could
so I could talk and
just so I could have it, right? With my vodka and
Yes.
shit like that. Like, I'm probably butchering it, bro. But like I actually would love to go to Russia, eh? Like, no hate at all. Like, I don't care what people do, but like, I'd love to drink with some Russians.
Yeah, that would be the best.
Right? That'd be so rowdy. I could just see it now, bro. But like, you know, it'd be like drinking with some Germans, man, and shit like that.
That would be the shit. You know what? If we ever went to war, that would be probably like, if you were to survive the war, just those little, like in World War II, there was a lot of times of, you know, just mutual ceasefire. I bet they used to drink together and, you know, whatever.
Yeah, and then kill each other the next day.
Pretty much.
Fucked up, man. That's so fucked up. But you know what? It's like, so whoever's going to be coming into like the new power, the new world order, know that it's not going to be done with military force. You know, there's too many of us to police. Have you also heard about that theory that they're going to be killing off the majority of the population?
Yes. It's written on like a sandstone tablet.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. But
Keep
it's
it
also
under 500 million.
That's it, because you can't police the amount of us. Oh, and that has to be after a nuclear war or some shit, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Like, it petrifies me to think about nukes. But at the same time, World War II, they used to always think about nukes and start running drills for nukes and shit like that, and nothing ever happened. So
But they didn't have as many nukes as we do now.
yeah, I know, but like these are also the people that decided to blow up the bloody atom bomb down at the fucking Hiroshima.
Japan.
Yeah. So like, I think they're a bit more nutty than we are today, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Could be like way nuttier this day and age.
No, definitely. And I've said it before. Every age throughout history, it's just build, get really powerful, then utilize that power. So the question of nukes and war, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Well, that's it, right? But like, everything's hyping up at the moment. Like a lot of people, like they don't give enough coverage to Ukraine and what the fuck's happening over there, and they do that for a fucking reason. Not because everyone's over the Ukraine. It's to keep everyone not looking at what the fuck's happening over there.
Let me ask you this. You know how we were saying before, like the Anunnaki and these higher powers and whatever. Do you reckon that people that have big amount of power, like leaders, kings, whatever, do you think that they get intuition, whatever their individual purpose may be, but they get the intuition to govern and rule and act and do whatever they want from something higher, or do you think it's just all egos?
I think it's majority egos, eh? I have to say that. Like, it is majority egos. Like, the human ego within itself is fucked up. If you give anyone, doesn't matter how good of a person they are, you give them enough power, they'll be corrupted by that power. Sorry, but we're a weak species when it comes to that. You know? We can talk a lot, and we can say we won't do it, but every motherfucker in the past has always proven us wrong.
But do you know what? Every motherfucker in the past has operated from a deeply embedded ideology.
Yeah, but like sometimes some of those ideologies were good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A bit
Nothing's
rarer.
good though. Nothing's good. And it really shits me. Like nothing's like, you can't do it. Like you can't, like you can get the most empathetic person in the whole world. and they're gonna have to do some fucked up shit just to keep the whole world going.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and then eventually you get poisoned by power, slowly but surely. It's like you're just on an IV drip, but
do you know what
drip
it's
of power.
like? Do you know what it's like? Queen Daenerys at the end of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
So
when she went around and just started all the way all those fuckers.
She wanted, to get people out of slavery, yada yada yada.
The greed got to her head.
And then in the very, very end,
yeah,
when she got all the power, she turned bad.
Yeah. She got what was coming to her. Jon Snow did.
I know. Right. Good on you, Jon Snow.
But then he didn't. Then he didn't even really want the power. Anyway, who'd they end up giving it to? His brother. They gave it to his brother.
Bran.
Yeah. The bloke who sees everything.
But you know what's crazy about Game of Thrones? I reckon it's one of the best series ever made. Because
have you watched the new one?
House of Dragon, yeah.
Yeah,
I've watched the first season.
I haven't seen it.
It's so good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's genius because you have exactly, like you said, all these people in different places with a different agenda and governed by their ego. But they have different sources of, like, let's say, for an example, Stannis.
Stannis. I thought you were saying status. Yeah, Stannis.
In the show, he was all about ego, all about the throne is like my birthright, whatever. I'm the brother of the ex-king, whatever. And then he gets this witch, right? And she tells him, like, she plays on his ego. You are the one who was promised. You are going to take the throne. You are going to destroy this army. He ends up getting screwed. But what I'm saying is that I reckon ego, intuition, and ideological...
Something pulling the strings.
Something pulling the strings, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's very fluid because whatever it is, it preys on that person's individual desire, but it just empowers it. And it makes it like that song that you just showed us, I'm a fucking humanoid, blah, 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 blah. You can feel that there's energy behind that, right?
There was a lot of energy behind that.
It's a lot of energy.
If you listen to the rest of that song, like you should, it's a great song. Like you got hectic energy in it, but
you can feel that guy's spirit is inflated and something's inflating it, right? Now, obviously that's just art. But think of, you have all these different leaders with real power.
Yeah.
And they all have that balloon of inflatable.
Like, talk about the fucking ego of a bloke that's going to build a wall and then make them pay for it. Trump and the whole Mexican wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear about the new shit that Mexico is going to be paying for the security there? Like $1.9 billion they're going to be very recently. So they're going to be paying for extra security on the border.
I'm not surprised.
How fucked up is that? I also heard the Mexico is talking to the BRICS nations as well. And America's doing that to themselves. They've been a tyrant and a cunt for too long.
Trump is a perfect example of that.
I like him at the same time.
Yeah, I like Trump. I don't mind him. I like him because he says everything in a way that's he just doesn't give a crap. He says what everyone's thinking. He's the one who broke that whole political correctness and I hated that. I can't stand that at all. But he just comes in and he says it how it is. So I really, really admire that about him. But him, in relation to what we were talking about before, it's also, he does have a little bit of ego, which rightfully so.
You kind of have to be a billionaire like him.
Rightfully so. But again, different types of people and so many different people all with that inflatable balloon. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That balloon, you can't really control where it goes. Just like you can't really control the wind of spirit and where it's going to end up. You might like someone, you know, in that present moment, but you never know what's actually being injected into the balloon, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I think that it's more profitable to dig into the spiritual stuff than it is just the base level stuff that you can see. Because if you can get a gauge of the spiritual stuff, then you can get a gauge of everything. You can get a gauge of what's empowering someone and why. And you can, the thing is, once you tap into this, you can start to see more of what empowers someone and then what the purpose of the power is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
And then after that, you can really choose.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm probably not even going to see this guy coming. This whole Antichrist bloke, the whole bloke who's going to bring everything in. Like,
no, he's very easy.
Be honest, right? Jesus comes back, right? And he's not showing like big miracles and shit. You're going to think he's a cult leader? Because I swear to God, you're going to have like 200 Jesuses come up within the next 10 years saying...
That's true.
Like, legit. You've already had him. You've already had him already. So
false prophets.
False prophets. Right? So, like, how are you going to be able to... you're just going to say it's going to be more like an intuition type of thing?
So, the depiction of Jesus when he comes back, like the first Jesus when he came... Well, it's the same Jesus, sorry. But when he came the first time, he came very humble, almost like a sheep led to the slaughter. He came all about love. He came basically, I'm pouring my life for you. So that's the essence of the story. I love each and every single person. And I love you so much that I would die for you. That's the essence. But when Jesus actually comes back in Revelation, he's coming back as a warlord. So Revelation 19, there's this depiction of a warrior on a white horse.
What if everything was translated wrong from the beginning, and Jesus and Lucifer is the same person, right? But now Jesus is coming back as Lucifer to do Lucifer's job. No, like how? What if there weren't separate entities in the beginning? What if they were the same entity, but here doing different missions at different times? Like, for example, you got like the Hindi. I don't know what the god's name is, but he comes back and he destroys everything.
Krishna.
Is it Krishna?
Maybe.
Comes back and destroys everything. Like he comes back, and they don't see him as like a bad person. They just see him as him. He's just coming to do his part in things. What if that's just Jesus coming back and just doing his part? Because like it's been translated so many times. Like he gets certain words and certain texts may get lost from the true meaning. Chinese whispers, dude.
So the gods that we're talking about, that's the God of Jesus, because partially in what you're saying, it's got a partial truth to it. But the way he's depicted in Revelation 19 is he's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. That means that there are kings under him, there are lordships, there's powers, there's dominions, but he's like the top of the top, the highest of the high,
Pyramid.
right? Yeah, he's the very, very top. He's
Illuminati pyramid. That's what I'm saying, but
not in that way, right?
Yeah.
So in the Old Testament, you see a lot of imagery of God himself, which is that top of the top source. And he uses, for example, there's a story at the time of David, I think it's in the book of Samuel, but anyway, God literally asks the people not the people, the spirits in heaven, he says, who's going to go to, I think it was Saul, I'm not sure, but the story is definitely in there. I'll put it as a box later. Who's going to act as a deceiving spirit to confuse this person? Right?
Okay, yeah.
There's other times where he would send the enemies of Israel against them when Israel would forget the covenant, or when they would break God's law, or when they would turn their back on God and worship other gods. He would send basically these evil spirits or these evil whatever, people that are his enemy, but he would send them against his own people, basically to make them turn back to him. So God, worship's very, very important. He doesn't compromise on it. It's not a little.
That's. I know.
It is.
No. He loves us and all this other shit, but he sounds like a real big dick.
Yeah, but if you had a wife, let's say,
Yeah,
and she's the love of your life, you're her husband.
I don't want her to worship me.
All right. Well, you're a man, but if she goes and she screws around with every single guy that comes her way, you'd probably get the shits as well, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's a very, very
But it's
logical.
it's very different. It's very different because it's like, dude, it's like you're married, you've never actually met, right? But you live on the other side of the fucking planet. Yeah, you expect her to be completely celibate to you.
So that's where mercy and God understands exactly what humans are. He understands that there's that separation.
Yeah, he understands because he made us this way. He sounds like a big prick.
So we're wired
Yeah.
to worship, right?
Yeah, see, wired for slavery. Wired Anunnaki, I'm telling you.
In any case, whether you're worshipping your possessions, whether you're worshipping yourself, whether you're worshipping anything and everything, everyone worships in their own way. You might not get on your knees and bow down to, whatever, but you're filled with lots of things. And what fills you becomes what you worship. So whatever variation, the chances are everyone, like you said, is born the same. So the end result of humans worshipping anything apart from, and there's an order for everything in life, there's an order. And once you compromise that order, then there's disorder. And the world itself right now is all disorder. People are disordered internally, right? You can't even
they're disordered internally, but
order inside.
But things have been different throughout time. This is also like one of the most peaceful times in history. At the same time, like what was it during World War II? There was like a couple thousand people per second dying. Like you knew it was like tens of thousands of people dying every 10 seconds or some shit, man. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's a peaceful time in history, but it's not necessarily better than any other time. And we spoke about this on, I think, last week or something. But I'm talking about existential order. So there's an existential order. And if everyone follows the order, then it's very simple. Love God, love your neighbor, do unto others as you would do to yourself. Give to the poor, all those sorts of things. It's peace, God and man with God and man, and peace human to human. But then once there's a break in that order, then there's disorder. So then you have things like greed, you have power struggles, you have essentially
from the
war.
beginning, though, it's been like
and
that.
humans haven't changed.
No.
So right now, you might not be going to kill someone in a different country like a savage, but you'll step on anyone and everyone to climb up the corporate ladder. So people are still intrinsically ruthless and evil, and will do whatever it takes to get what they want.
A little bit barbaric, eh?
A little bit barbaric.
We all need it. We all need a little bit of barbaric in us.
It doesn't change. It's the exact same thing. But where God comes in, if everyone was ordered individually, then you'll have order in your family. Right now, one of the biggest problems in the world is families, like kids are getting raised by the internet and whatever the government wants to teach them through the education system. And 70 or 80% of marriages fail. So maybe we'll get more deep into that on another podcast. But disorder in the family, that means disorder in the society. Society disordered. It just keeps on going and going and going. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Back to prophecy, right? So, again, if you were to draw the dots with, let's say, the Quran and Hadith, right?
Yeah.
And I would love one day to have like an Islamic sheikh come in to unpack
That'd be
this.
dope.
That would be so good.
That'd be so dope. And then it'd be dope to have like three different ones.
Yeah.
You got Islam, you got Christianity, and then we got to bring in a third. And I don't want to bring in Judaism.
A Buddhist monk.
I want to bring in like some
Someone
Hindi.
who's into it.
I want to bring in like some Hindi type of shit, like a completely different vibe.
I would love for them to come and unpack it, because
That's
this stuff
something
I've read,
that we need
I've connected my own dots.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of parallels,
Yeah.
but I would love for someone to really come and elaborate properly.
Yeah, I think we can do that. I think we should sort that out for the next time. But yeah, holy shit.
But you have the Hadith.
Yeah.
They also talk about two figures, right? One is Jesus, which they call him Isa. And how it's written for them is he comes at the end of time, he breaks the cross and kills the pigs. That's what's actually written in there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you know how I told you, it says Jesus is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords in Revelation.
Yeah.
It also says the worst name on the day of judgment, he's going to name himself King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Do you see really fine dots?
Yeah. They're very similar books.
Then
anyway.
I was looking at Buddhism, and they talk a lot about Dharma and the reincarnation of Maitreya, and he's coming as a world teacher. And he's coming at an age where everything's all messed up. So again, it's that, and he's going to bring peace to the world through the teaching of reincarnation. Hindis have very similar, but they call him Krishna, right? So they're all very, very similar. If you have a look at just the prophetic, there's a lot of dots. They don't agree, but there's a lot of dots to connect. So
I'd love to do that. But yeah, we'll have to save that for our next episode, eh?
definitely.
100%.
And that's New World Order, because this is literally ancient prophecies of New World Order. A lot of people just think of it as
a new thing.
Like it's never been
It's
spoken about.
mainly just been the rapture and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks for making it this far. Let us know your predictions in the comment section below.
Subscribe and hit the bell for the latest content.